Hey everybody, welcome to Tomorrow's Headlines Today. It's Robin
and Brandy Cunningham
with Fireside Grace Ministries.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, well, we should do that for their podcast called The Truth Talks with Robin and Brandy.
Yeah, on Christopher May's channel.
Yep.
Hey, I want your drink now.
You can take some sips of it.
Well, I really just want it.
You can share it with me.
Look, we can put it here and share.
It's funny that it's on your side now. We're sharing it.
But there's not a place in the middle, unfortunately.
Sharing is caring, right? It could go right here.
No, it's too close to the microphones.
No. Okay. Well, today on Tomorrow's Headlines Today, we are going to be talking about abortion and what's going on in America right now with abortion. So this is something that you need to hear because you will probably be shocked and appalled and probably don't know really a whole lot of what is going on in America with abortion right now, which I was surprised by some of the stuff that Brandy was telling me also. So we're going to roll the intro, and then I guess we'll do a couple announcements, and then we'll get into it. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. So first of all, we're going to put the banner up here. You can partner with us, firesidegrace.com/partner with us. You can also go there to tithe to us, sow into us in any way, shape, or form, which we really need in order to keep the ministry going. Everything else, Fireside Grace, Cash App is $ Fireside Grace, PayPal is at Fireside Grace, and then, of course, our mailing address is P.O. Box 1285, Judsonia, Arkansas, 72081. Okay? Is there anything that you'd like to add for announcements?
Well, I just want to add, this isn't just about abortion. I mean, a lot of the topics and questions are abortion driven, but abortion is really the start of euthanasia, physician assisted suicide, suicide in our nation, LGBTQ, women's rights, reproductive health or not health. There's a whole lot that hinges on the topic of abortion. And I'm trying not to be emotional. None of you have probably seen me ever cry. Robin has because he's my husband, but it's not that often. And definitely not online doing a video. So that's him, not me.
I think I've cried twice on here.
Probably just in worship too.
5 years or something.
Yeah, that's true.
The day that Joseph had his feeding tube taken out and Roe versus Wade was overturned. And yesterday, I was thinking about how good God is.
Well, those are great reasons to cry. Yeah. So if you don't want to hear about the topic of abortion, it's affecting you, whether you realize it or not. And I'm going to say, please listen. Like, if you listen to nothing else I've ever done, just please give this video a listen.
So, all right, the very first, we're going to do this interview style like I'm interviewing Brandy. So
okay.
The first question I have is about your book, the Abortion Prevention Hand Guide, and how do you plan to use that, and how do you plan to create resources for people, and with what people are sowing into us, what all are we doing as Fireside Grace for to help prevent abortion and spread awareness and all this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really big question, and we're doing a lot. First, I just have to point out that this soda moved while I was talking.
I told you it would fit this.
Anyway, I'm sure we are doing so much. For those of you that don't know, I quit my job as a administrator of a few facilities as a registered nurse to drop my salary and go into full-time abortion prevention. And I worked for a ministry ran abortion prevention. It was really called a pregnancy center. We did a lot more than just abortion prevention, but that was our mission. And to love women and those things, and families. But during that time, I was able to be a part of with my team and God's help, over 226 babies being saved and these from abortion. And these are the ones that were just on record. These weren't the ones, there were so many more that we couldn't get a hold of to confirm the number.
Was that in like a year?
It was less than that, yeah.
Less than a year.
Yeah.
286 babies saved in less than a year.
226, yeah.
226 in Oklahoma City alone.
I don't know. Yeah, and this is in Oklahoma City. And during that time, I was the primary, if you will, counselor / nurse for those that came in that were pregnant or, they were considering abortion or abortion determined. I was the one that did the counseling, and obviously we had other people on staff that did it too, but I'm just saying that was my role there. And, well, we had one other person on staff that did that. So there were two of us. During that time, I learned so much about what our voices can do. The good that our voices can have, or the negative effects that they can have. I saw firsthand walking through, and then I mentored the families that chose life after that, so that they weren't just left alone. After, they had decided to make this decision, we supported them, gave them baby showers and all the things. And now, what's interesting is one of the things that I learned from walking with families through all kinds of different scenarios, from abusive spouses to those who practice Mormonism to, the majority who were Christian girls that felt like they had to make the decision because of their parents' approval.
Just one quick question here. What percentage of women who came through your clinic would you say identified as being Christian?
Oh, it was over 70%. We actually did, when we charted, we asked if they had a religious preference, and over 70% said Christian. And I don't remember I think it was more than that, but I'm doing that conservatively in case I was a little off, but at least 70%.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that's something? Did they have do you know what their number one reason was for coming in and getting an abortion, being Christian?
Well, I mean, every family's different, so that's a little hard to ask. But I will say every woman, whether Christian or not, felt like they had no other option. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get my right to choose is, I'm not agreeing with that. I'm saying this is how they view that. They feel like that's their only choice. And so it's interesting to me that the left encourages us as a right to choose, but they really feel like they have no choice to do pregnancy and to choose pregnancy. It's all these reasons why I'm forced to choose abortion. So it really comes down to one choice, which is not really the right to choose, because there's no choices. This is just what the best thing is according to them. For multiple reasons. Every family has their own reason.
Right. And then if you try and give them options or choices, then you're the one that's intolerant and infringing on people's rights.
Right.
Because they want the right to
Very
choose,
twisted.
But just not the right to choose anything but to abort that baby. That's what it seems like, on the other side of the spectrum, not the Christian side.
Right. During that time, I grew as a human. I grew as a mom. I grew as a wife. I grew as a minister. I grew as a friend. And I definitely grew away from nursing. But I learned what women need and how, and men, families. I say women because they're the ones that showed up more than men, if that makes sense. But families in general, what they need to feel supported enough to choose life. I learned scripture that was just super helpful to talk them through it. And I think that's one thing that's really important to me, is how we come across as non-judgmental, but also the truth is offensive. And so we have to be okay, delivering that, but in a loving way and an educating way, because many of the people getting an abortion don't even know how far along they are. They don't even know anything except they have a positive pregnancy test, and they darn sure don't know what's going on when they're actually in the abortion procedure. As a matter of fact, in Planned Parenthood, you don't even have to be a medical professional, and really they prefer that you're not. And if you guys don't know, Unthinkable is a documentary that Abby Johnson's releasing this summer. Very excited about that. But they asked her.
She didn't want to let go. She squeezed it a little.
They asked her, what do you think it was just your clinic that was that terrible, that caused you to leave and believed all these things that you share? And she's like, no. And so this documentary is, I think it's over 700 people. I think she said 700 people who were ex-abortion clinic workers that have since come out. Praise God, thanks to her nonprofit organization. And that's a great one to support if you want to support one. And it's helping clinic workers come out of that, because it's really hard, because Planned Parenthood makes it to where your salary is so good that you've built your lifestyle around that. Well, now I have this car payment, and now I have this house payment, and now I have 3 kiddos to raise or whatever, and so you're kind of locked in that unless you have another option. And so she makes a way for women to be financially supported and get resumes and built and all those things to get a new career. But in Planned Parenthood, she said that she actually went through a protocol and a list. And, when she was checked off of this training list, she was then able to assist with abortion. She was able to do ultrasounds and things like that, which, not that they actually did those on a regular basis, because they absolutely don't. And Abby actually asked them if they would, and they said no, because it takes 5 minutes to perform an abortion, surgical abortion, and it takes 3 minutes to do an ultrasound, and we're trying to get between 40 and 60 patients in a day for abortions. And so if we're trying to see 40 to 60 patients a day, then we won't meet that quota if we add an ultrasound machine in the process, even though that's in view of women's safety, so that a uterune's not perforated, there's no fetal tissue left, and things like that. And so even then, she was pushed back at Planned Parenthood, and they said that they wouldn't do that. So she knows for a fact that they don't require people to be medically trained, and they don't want that. They don't want the pushback from people going, oh, well, this is proper protocol. Oh, well, we really should be doing it this way to meet with standards and guidelines.
So what happens with a mom when they see the baby in an ultrasound? Do you think that might have played a part with them deciding not to do that?
Oh, of course, because it gives humanity to the situation.
They see the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't want to make this graphic or vulgar or anything.
It is what it is. This is a graphic topic.
What would they see if they were watching the baby going through the abortion process? Do you know?
So, well, I mean, parents, this is your chance to turn this off. And disclaimer, this could get a little violent, very violent. I mean, it just depends on the type of abortion. There's a few different types of surgical abortions. But, the baby would be getting ripped to pieces. And if it's over a certain amount of weeks, they have to actually crack the skull and drain the fluid of the brain before they can pull the skull out, because it's larger at that time, and that's how they get it to fit through. It's just...
And does
murder.
the baby...
It's murder.
Does the baby respond to this stuff, or does it just lay there and do nothing?
I mean, if anyone has seen Unplanned, you know that the reason Abby Johnson left Planned Parenthood was because she was invited to come in and do an ultrasound, and the physician that was showing her what was going to happen during an ultrasound said, do this for me or whatever. And so she would hold the ultrasound probe on the mom's stomach as the physician performed the murder. And she would look, and she saw the baby, it's a little boy, who I believe he was 12 weeks old, who actually saw the probe go in and, the instrument go in and actually ran from it on ultrasound, was running, like trying to get away from it, for his life frantically. And she watched him be dismantled piece by piece. And, that's her experience. I don't think moms, if they really knew what was being done and if they had to face that, and look at it and see their baby going through that while they were performing it, I don't think as many would. But I want to kind of shift gears from that for just a second. One of the statistics that Abby shared that I just really appreciate was they have done a study. I believe it's Charlotte Lozier Institute has done a study of abortion appointments that get held in clinics versus ones that cancel or they don't show on the day that there is people out praying in front of an abortion clinic. So when people are out there praying, Christians, 75% less people showed up for their appointments on the days that there were people out there praying. She said there were days that people would call her and go, hey, can you tell me when that priest is gone? Can you tell me when that group of people is gone and I'll come back? Otherwise, I'm not going to come up there. Because why? Because even these nice people with smiles on their faces just want to love them and pray for them. It holds them accountable for their sin. And it makes it no longer this thing that can be reasoned and the humanity reasoned out of it, but we remind them of what humanity in life is. And so they have to face that. So if you can get a group of people, it's really important that we go out and pray. And Abby Johnson has it on her website, flyers that you can take to pass out. You don't even have to really say anything. If you can pass out these flyers to people going in, and even the clinic workers, there's different ones that you can print for free on her website. I think it's abbyj.com, and you can print those out. I think it's just important that we do something. I have a lot to say, but I'll pause. You're supposed to be the host.
What's going on right now in America as far as since Roe versus Wade's been overturned? What would you say is the most pressing issue that's going on, or like the biggest thing that stands out to you right now?
Well, also hard to answer, and I want to be respectful of our time and those listening. I would say right now, the most pressing issue is the desire of other organizations, and I can tell you who, to make abortion pills available in the hands of everyone so that as soon as they get a pregnancy test, they can take it. They call it Plan C. I think that's the most... And it's their goal is to make it to where every single female has at least 5 sets of them and can distribute to friends as needed. I think that's our biggest issue that we're facing right now. And Abby, again, said it best. Is she said, we don't have necessarily the abortion issue. We have an issue of paganism and worship to Satan in our nation. That's the biggest root of what it comes down to. So,
do you want to share with people what the Church of Satan or the Temple of Satan is doing and with babies? Or is that something you want to wait for later? Or with abortions, I mean?
We can go there. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Here, hold my beer. No, I'm just kidding.
So they know it's
I'm joking. If I get an email about that, I will block you.
It's orange cream. We don't even drink.
We don't drink alcohol. Okay. I want to talk about Plan C first.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about it. What's interesting is the topic of birth control is a whole nother issue. I feel like we need to do that on another day, but we need to have the same type of setting. and talk about birth control, because the abortion pill is just simply a 4 times stronger dose than birth control. So the fact that we think that some are aborticeptives and some are not is not true. They are all aborticeptives, because statistically, science has shown that 7 to 10% of the time abortion or birth control does not stop the egg from meeting the sperm and joining as one.
So 70% of the time when you're on birth control?
7 to 10% of the time.
Oh, 7 to 10. I thought you were saying 7 out of 10 times for some reason. I'm like, wow,
No.
That's ridiculous.
I'm glad you clarified. 7 to 10% of the time, the egg still meets the sperm even while on birth control, and everyone pretty much knows someone that has had a baby on birth control. Gotten pregnant on birth control. So what happens is it creates such a hostile environment in your uterus that even though, and I'm talking hormonal, implants, the pill, all of it, literally even Paragard, okay, creates a hostile environment in the uterus, so that once the egg has met the sperm and that forms, it cannot, implant into the uterine wall. And so
you're still aborting the baby.
It's still aborting what has been done. Now, it's not intentional per se, but once we know the truth, we have to start trusting God with
if we believe that life begins at the moment of conception, then birth control is actually causing you to abort the baby at the moment of conception.
So anyone who is Catholic and is on the birth control pill, any type of implant, or even the Paragard, is going against what the Catholic Church believes, and not even just Catholics, but those who, which by the way, good for you, Catholic Church, applause in all areas there.
I hear more Catholics doing things about abortion than not Catholics. So,
but even as Christians, it still goes against what the Bible says about when life starts. And so, anyway, not to talk fully about that, but the abortion pills that they're giving are 4 times or more higher, depending on how far along you are in your pregnancy. Okay, go ahead.
Do we want to talk about the statistics of the increased chance of getting cancer from taking birth control?
Go ahead.
Did you know that taking birth control with the extra estrogen and all progesterone and all that increases your chance of getting cervical cancer by 33%?
And birth control pill considered a level 1 carcinogen. With what else?
The same classification as formaldehyde.
Yeah. And
arsenic. Arsenic and formaldehyde.
I always say it wrong.
So it's just as likely to cause cancer
as formaldehyde, which is a preservative of corpses.
It is known that it is, in fact, a carcinogen that causes cancer. Mm-hmm. It is a fact. I'm not saying that to try and scare people away.
Oh, I mean, but kind of are, because it's scary to have cancer. I mean, it's a holy fear.
Right. You could completely lose your ability to even have children because of birth control. So if you want to wait, there's a 33% chance, which is really, if you are going to bet on something with odds that are 33% or 1 out of 3, that's a good wager to make. If you were going to bet on something happening, I would take those odds. It's not as good as 50% or 75%.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that like facetiously almost.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to get cancer, but I'm just trying to show you
that's a high percentage
number.
Yeah. And you can obviously stop. You can pray, and the Lord can heal your body. But there's obviously redemption to that, and we're not judging anyone who does that. But my job at this point right now is to bring awareness, because it's just not there. I tell you one thing, birth control will never be taught to my kids that it's okay to take.
No, we teach abstinence. Yeah, abstinence is the way to go.
I was abstinent until I was married. And
celibacy, I guess, is probably better. That's not having sex at all. Abstinence means you try not to, which I was confused by that.
I guess I'm both. And I want to just mention real quick before we get into this Plan C and the Satanic Temple stuff. I will answer your question as to what Fireside Grace is doing about the issue and how you can get involved and what our mission is. I'm going to be very clear for those of you who are very detail-oriented type of people. So stay tuned for that. But I just want to read this to you. You can just go to plancpills.org and and just go there. So when you go there, it has all kinds of support and resources, and there's a tab that you can choose that says Get Pills. This says, what are pills in advance? Our research shows that people in the U.S. are starting to order abortion pills in advance to have on hand in case of a missed period. Okay?
Oh, just to have as like Tylenol in the cabinet. Abortion pills.
Yeah. So that's their goal, is to make it available to everyone. And I mean, this is just predator and pedo and sex trafficking heaven. Like, this is just making what they do so much easier. Okay? This is a problem. It's a real big problem. So I'm going to go to Q&A and finding abortion pills. Abortion pills are available from in-person clinics, online clinics, okay? Websites that sell pills. It says, some international websites sell abortion pills. No prescription is needed. No medical screening or advice is given. You receive the pills by mail and you take them at home. Okay? Community support networks like Red State Access, which we'll talk about in just a minute. They help you take the pills at home and get them. Some people find abortion pills in pharmacies in other countries like Mexico. Okay, so this is literally giving you all kinds of, I'm sure you can't see that, but plancpills.org and go to the Q&A. Where can I find abortion pills? It's just right there for everyone to see. Okay.
Guttmacher Institute.
Go ahead. You can share that while I'm looking for the next thing.
So I'm reading, I just wanted to see while we were doing this, what the percentage of people getting abortion was that were on birth control. According to the Guttmacher Institute, January 11th, 2018, they released this. It says 51% of abortion patients in the United States reported that they were on contraceptives in the month that they became pregnant. 51%. So the idea that if you're on birth control, you're not going to get pregnant is malarkey, because you have a 50% chance, apparently, of getting pregnant on birth control. And everybody knows somebody who's been pregnant on birth control, use a prophylaxis of some sort, like a condom or whatever, and it happens. So, anyway.
Right, and I will say, from my personal hands-on experience, those who were on birth control and got pregnant were actually more likely to go ahead and have the abortion, because they had already decided in their minds that they just weren't open to what God had at that time for them. So I'm saying our actions do have consequences, but you have to be really careful. We don't have sex outside of marriage, and it's not really even appropriate to talk about rape and incest cases because they're so few and far in between.
It's less than 1%.
It's less than 0.001%. And so, we need to make their stories heard, but you can't make laws based off of less than 1% because it's supposed to be the majority. So listen to this. Can I still get abortion pills by mail if my state bans abortion? This is just there for everyone. Yes. There are several ways to get pills by mail, even in states that totally ban abortion care. So, Robin, earlier you had asked me about what's kind of going on since Roe v. Wade was overturned. And yes, that's a miracle that God did that. We will forever celebrate. And everyone in the church stood up. Everyone fought. It was just the most beautiful thing. But in giving power to the states, which we really like as conservatives, it really has not helped, because murder is a federal issue.
They've got more severe about it.
Yeah, and they actually, the attacks and the beliefs of the other side, they have actually risen up to fight harder now. And Christians just kind of, not all, but some of Christians just got the feeling that we just had this victory and we could just have a beer and a banana nut muffin and celebrate, like, or whatever you do to celebrate, and just sit back. And unfortunately, that's just not how the devil works. He goes, oh, they're sleeping, let me pounce.
That was a Brene Brown reference, by the way, in case you're wondering. Like I said, we don't drink.
Yeah, Brene Brown's, yeah. Anyway, I do like Brene Brown's overall teachings. I don't agree with everything, but anyway. I think you get my point. I'm trying to make a point. Can I buy abortion pills now to use later? Yes, you can buy abortion pills now to use later.
This is the Plan C website?
Mm-hmm. Again, plancpills.org. Some people who are not pregnant get abortion pills to keep in their medicine cabinet just in case their period is late. By the way, medicine is supposed to help you, not harm you. But
yeah, but
also
you
part
take
of why I left the medical field.
You take an oath to protect life, right?
Yeah.
And now they're committing infanticide now. They're actually murdering babies after they're born now. But anyway, that's another topic.
Oh, yeah. That's it actually happens a lot more than we.
It's sad because
over 200 babies a year are survive abortions, and then they are able to be killed even up to 2 years in some places. And they will just, again, parents use discretion, turn this off if you need to, or if you just don't want to hear this part, but they will actually break their necks, drown them to death, suffocate them after the abortions have failed.
They're requiring this of nurses.
Well, they're not even nurses in some cases, but yeah.
I don't know how anybody could be okay with doing that. Like, I'd be like, you're going to have to arrest me because I'm not doing this.
Well, by that point, it's such a game. I mean, it's just so normal to them. It's like a physician I was listening to who used to perform abortions. He just said, my eyes just literally weren't open to what I was doing. I literally didn't see what was happening. And we just have to pray that the eyes of these people be opened.
Yeah.
Because unless you're following God, you are blind. Okay. And the problem is these people claim to be following God. And I have a really, really big problem with that. And I could talk for another 5 hours on that, but I'm going to stay focused for a minute. Okay. Some people, I already read that, they can take the pills right away without having to wait a long time for shipping if they have them in their medicine cabinet already. Some services listed on our guide to pills, it's a link, hyperlink, let you order pills in advance. Both Abuzz and Aid Access offer advanced provision. So any lawyers that are out there that are listening to this, or those are government or places of authority, Abuzz, A-B-U-Z-Z, and Aid Access offer advanced provision. Please go after them and include me however I can be used. If you decide to use pills later, the services will still help you with instructions on how to follow up support. Okay. Are abortion pills covered by insurance or Medicaid? Some insurances and some Medicaid plans cover abortion pills, but not all providers accept insurance or Medicaid. Blah, blah, blah. But now the Satanic Temple is offering them for free with a brand new clinic that opened, their second clinic that opens April 30th, 2024. And it's free access 24 hours, 7 days a week. And we'll get there in a minute, too.
That's like drive-through abortions.
Except, yeah. Can I buy abortion pills from Amazon? No. Yay. Okay.
Thank God.
What are online pharmacies or websites that sell pills? How can I order from them? Many online services calling themselves pharmacies, they actually put this in quotes on their own website. How stupid. Okay, I mean, I guess
it's hard not to get emotional when you're talking about this one way or another. Angry or sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like rage-filled tears talking about this.
I probably will cry when we're talking about the temple stuff right now. Many online services calling themselves quote-unquote pharmacies, right there, sell abortion pills. They do not do a medical consultation. They do not require a prescription. They ship to all addresses in the U.S. states. Are these websites real? Yes, many are real commerce sites, but they are not regulated by the U.S. government. They sell generic abortion pills that have not been inspected by the, U.S. government. Plan C regularly tests these websites by buying pills from them. The services we list in our guide all shipped pills to a home address. The pills were real, supposedly based on laboratory testing, but there's no hyperlink to prove that either. But we do not operate these sites and cannot guarantee they will be reliable in the future. Here is how online pill stores work.
Why would you even mention them then?
The buyer selects the desired product, often called an MTP kit for medical termination of pregnancy. Our test buyers look to make sure that there was one pill of, the first one and then 4 pills of the second one. Some services sold only 3 of them, which is not the medical standard. People who are more than medical standard, healthcare standard. It's really sick care, but people who are more than 9 weeks pregnant sometimes also buy 4 to 8 extra pills to have on hand in case they need them to complete the abortion.
Because there is a pretty real chance that it doesn't work, and even if it does work, you still have to give birth to that baby.
Okay, so we'll talk about the terms in a minute. The buyer fills out their address, payment information. That's it. No identity required. The buyer chooses the type of shipping, if they want express or regular. They do not require a signature, and they usually arrive by the U.S. Postal Service. Online pill stores may not follow strict digital security protocols. Many people use a virtual private network, a VPN, before visiting or order from these sites to protect their private information, which really kind of leads us to the Red State Access site. And it really is what it sounds like, Red State Access. I'll get there in just a minute. So the conservative states that don't allow abortion, okay?
Mm-hmm. So that you can get access to your OTC drugs without having to go to a doctor.
Yeah. Okay. So this says, I wanted to show you, can I get in trouble for using abortion pills? The short answer is it depends, and it's complicated.
That's not something that I'd be willing to do. It's like, can I go, what happens if I go and buy a gun and I have a felony? Well, nothing if you don't get caught.
Okay.
I'm not saying do that, by the way. Don't do that. It's illegal.
Sarcastic. Legal risk can depend on where you live, your identity, race, ethnicity, income level, etc., and how far along you are in the pregnancy. Check the headings below for more information about these risks. In the end, though, it's up to each person to make their own decision about the risk. That's not what the law says. Or the Bible. Our body is not our own, by the way. It belongs to God. You can also contact Repro Legal Helpline, a free legal resource that can help answer your questions. Okay? What if a state totally bans abortion? Some states have laws against abortion. These laws mean that with limited expectations, medical providers and clinics can't do an abortion procedure or provide the pills. A ban that blocks providers from offering care does not necessarily block a person from using the pills on their own. But this does not mean that a person who self-manages their abortion has no legal risk. People in the U.S. are criminalized for all kinds of reasons, with outsized impact on certain identities or socioeconomical backgrounds. People in states that ban abortion can still get abortion pills by mail from telehealth providers in shield law states, or alternative suppliers like international online clinics, websites that sell pills, and community networks that mail them for free. By the way, they also will send these in bags that are unmarked pills. So you don't know exactly what they are. If you're trying to hide it from someone, then you can request that to be done.
And that can cause you a whole world of trouble too. not having your pills in a proper container or whatever.
We could go into the health and safety risks, but that's just not what I'm doing at the moment. So
It's just crazy to think about. And you know, the thing is, like, if you're not like a law enforcement officer and you want to order this and see if you can actually get it and it's illegal, you could get in trouble for it.
Right. Oh, right.
And people want to use VPNs because they feel like they're safe, that they're not going to be tracked. But the FBI can track you anywhere.
Yeah.
The police can track you. Like, you have a watch, you have a phone, you have a car. You know, there's all these ways. They're going to get your mailing address.
Yeah. But a person who is in a pregnancy crisis doesn't care about those things. They're making decisions out of survival mode. And that's the other thing is, you know, used to, when I was working in it full time, preventing it, there was a 72-hour wait period from the moment you signed the paperwork at the abortion clinic to the time when you could get the abortion in the state of Oklahoma. That's how it was. Now there's no wait period.
That's
and
absurd.
Not even online or anything. You don't have to prove that anyone's not coercing you to do this or anything like that.
And that's supposed to be a conservative state.
Yeah, it is a conservative state primarily. Hopefully it stays that way, but
It's just crazy.
yeah. What do I do if I'm a minor, but I live in or am seeking abortion care in a state where I need to get parental notification or consent for an abortion? Some states require that parents be notified or give a consent for a minor to get an abortion. Your provider can help you understand what the law is in your state and how parental notification or consent works. If you do not feel comfortable or safe involving a parent or guardian in the decision to have an abortion, you have two options. A, request service from a provider like Aid Access, who does telehealth from a state with special laws called SHIELD laws. We should be going after SHIELD laws.
I didn't even know it existed until just now. Like, seriously, I was like, what is a SHIELD law even?
Okay.
Does that mean it shields and protects people so that they can do criminal things?
I don't know. We're going to have to pull that and go over it. Obtain a judicial bypass permission from a judge. Both options are explained in this frequently asked questions. 36 states require parental consent or notification. Parental consent means this. If you do not feel you're able to involve your parents, there are two more options. If you are less than 13 weeks pregnant, you can get abortion pills mailed to you from Aid Access. They serve minors in all states and territories. They are able to serve minors without parental consent or notification because they operate from states with special laws that do not require them to do this. Or you can get a judicial bypass. Okay. I'm going to go to redstateaccess.org, and I'm not going to go over as much information here. I know that this video is already getting long and full of information, and you're probably like, I can't take any more. So I'm just going to show you this very briefly. You can go to redstateaccess.org. And it says, in a restricted state, looking for information on safe abortion access, we're here for you. So first of all, it's already lying because this is not usually involving medical people at all. And there's so many risks, but it's like, oh, we'll help you do this safely. And a lot of these clinics, especially ones that are actual like clinics, and Planned Parenthoods actually have contracts where they work with hotels where women can just go to the hotel and have the abortion. So our hotels are being turned into baby sacrifice temples. Essentially.
Mm-hmm. Let me read you what a SHIELD law is real quick before we forget.
Good. Give me a break first.
Since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June of 2022, if you want to be specific, it's June 24th, 2022. That's my birthday.
Right.
Several states have enacted abortion SHIELD laws to protect abortion access. The goal of these laws is to ensure that providers in the state where abortion is legal can perform abortions for patients who traveled from states where abortion is illegal, and also to protect telehealth actions when the provider prescribes abortion pills to a patient while the patient is within an anti-abortion state. These laws allow nurse practitioners, doctors, and midwives to prescribe abortion pills to patients in states where abortion is restricted or banned. The laws vary from state to state, but in general, they protect abortion providers and patients from legal attacks by prosecutors in anti-abortion states. So they've set up ways to protect their butts, essentially. So that's probably where these pills are coming from.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
Mexico. Get your pills from cartels, I guess.
Yeah, nothing dangerous about that.
That's what happens when you
Sarcasm.
teach that babies are a burden.
Or they don't think their life matters either.
Mm-hmm.
Which gets into suicide levels and all that too. Okay,
Also
there's a
stuff
lot
we
of
could
places
talk
we could
about
go.
for a long... We
Yeah.
could go on this for hours, but we won't.
No. At least not this time. So, this is still redstateaccess.org. Please use a privacy app like DuckDuckGo when looking for abortion resource sites like ours.
They're telling you to cover your butt because DuckDuckGo basically has a built-in VPN.
Okay. Let's go down all the way up to the bottom. Client response provided within 24 hours, 7 days a week. Medicine shipped by USPS priority mail with no tracking. Kits containing 1 of the first pill and 12 to 16 of the second pill for pregnancies 20 weeks and under. Okay? It's dangerous to have a medicated abortion that late in your pregnancy. Clients over 21 weeks are supported by trained, trusted companions on dosing and directions. Let me read that again. Clients over 21 weeks are supported by trained and trusted companions. So they're already trying to make them feel safe, right? On dosing and directions. Service for all gestations. No personal data retained or collected. And I get this a lot. So you're telling me that they're still killing babies in all trimesters? redstateaccess.org. Service for all gestations. Access to a personal trained companion makes them feel supported. Available for all clients and automatically assigned for minors, domestic violence survivors, and clients over 10 weeks. Clients now, not patients. Choice for clients of loose, unidentifiable pills or foil blister packs, depending on their security concerns. Okay? So I just want you to be aware that that's there. I mean, I'm not okay with us just sitting down. And let me just give you a little reason why. As if that wasn't enough. A couple years ago, the Satanic Temple opened their first abortion clinic.
Is that the Sam Alito clinic?
Yeah. Not Sam Alito, not your mother's clinic. It's just which Samuel Alito is a judge.
I think he's a SCOTUS justice, right?
Who, is a conservative who fights for protection of babies and true women's rights, which is not what it's being said to be right now. It's just really funny that they thought he was so effective that his name is known. I'm like, that's free advertising for him. But anyway, now they
put the witch doctor symbol in the middle of the
I'm
pentagram.
like, that's ridiculous. The Satanic Temple is opening its second clinic. Oh, and by the way, when you go to their website, I have this open. I'm just going to go back to the homepage. thesatanictemple.com. Okay. And then I'm going to go to learn about
Tell me they have 10 tenants. Nope, they have 8, of course. It's a witchcraft number.
I believe that's 7.
Yep, that is. Yep.
Yeah.
Thought I saw an extra I there.
So when you go there, let's see. Why is it not just opening the original advocacy? Okay.
What are you trying to find on there?
I'm trying to show you. Okay. It's called, and you can actually, I'll show you where eventually. It's actually called the religious abortion ritual at their clinic. Very honest in that title about what they're doing with abortion. It's a ritual.
Here you go.
Yeah, the Satanic Temple.
You can take the phone. It's cool.
Reproductive rights, supposedly. It says it right here. It's on, I guess, the shop their merchandise page. I think it's on another page too. The religious abortion ritual. It restricts, it exempts their members of this temple from enduring medically unnecessary and unscientific regulations when seeking to terminate their pregnancy. The ritual involves the recitation of 2 of our tenets and a personal affirmation that is ceremoniously intertwined with the abortion.
It is a religious sacrifice of your baby. This is legal. But us saying that we have an opinion that this is against God, they don't like that. But you're allowed to religiously sacrifice your baby to Satan.
Because prerequisite procedures such as waiting periods, mandatory viewing of sonograms, and compulsory counseling contravene Satanist religious convictions, those who perform the religious abortion ritual are exempt from these requirements and can receive first trimester abortions on demand. It says on demand.
Whenever you want.
In
Literally
states,
sacrifice your baby whenever you want. They're ready on demand.
In states that have enacted the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. And then it actually goes on to say, what are crisis pregnancy centers?
How dare they?
Crisis pregnancy centers, also known as pregnancy resource centers, are good for us, though. Like, we have enough of them, and we're making a big enough stink that they have to
They're trying to steal it.
They're trying to
twist it.
Right. Or pregnancy support centers are structures that disguise themselves as abortion clinics to attract people who are dealing with unplanned or unwanted pregnancies.
And that's what they accuse crisis abortion centers of doing. They say that, oh, you're pretending that you're an abortion clinic so you can get people in here and trick them into not having a murdering their baby. Literally.
The centers often provide misinformation. Coming from someone that's twisted, that means a whole lot, right?
Who is misinformation? I've never met her.
And promote a religious agenda to dissuade people from seeking abortion services. Centers are not HIPAA compliant. That's not true. The one I worked in was medically HIPAA compliant. And
so what they're literally...
many of them are.
What they literally said just now is to dissuade people from not getting not getting an abortion. So people who are looking for alternative options are trying to convince them to sacrifice their baby instead.
Mm-hmm. Through a ritual in which they have to recite.
Yeah, they have to come into a covenant with Satan in order to do this, through this.
There are roughly 3,000 of these fake clinics in the U.S. This says they are not required to protect information or identities of those who visit. We actually had nurse practitioners, RNs on staff, ultrasound
I'm pretty sure
techs
that's a
on
HIPAA
staff.
violation.
What's interesting, though, is Planned Parenthood doesn't have to have medical professionals, but they're saying the ones that do are not HIPAA compliant. That's a load of frickin' bullcrap. Okay, now you're hearing the Robin that has affected me come out. Okay.
She didn't cuss. She Southern cussed. That's cussing for her.
Southern cussed. It is cussing for me. Okay, the Satanic Temple has created flyers to disclose these facts about crisis centers. The flyers are intended to be downloaded from our website so that volunteers can distribute them outside of the fake clinics to people who might not be aware of their mission. So what they're literally doing is validating that what we're doing outside of clinics is working. Because they're like, oh, I'll use that method.
Yeah. They're literally trying to take everything that people do for abortion and make a mockery of it, which is what Satan does. And then they claim they don't even worship Satan. They worship self. I hate to tell you, but that is worshiping Satan. And also, if you're accusing people of these things, that's what Satan literally means. It means the accuser of the brethren.
I think there's a couple more things I'm going to go over from there, but this is not something I had to research hard to find.
No, I typed up.
This is like
I typed up
all available.
Abortion ritual satanic temple, and it was the very first thing that popped up, which means they paid Google a ton of money. You have no idea how expensive Google ads are for your ad to pop up first thing. That's like tens of thousands of dollars a week in advertisement right there. That people are donating to them to do this. Can't buy diapers for babies. We have to go and take diapers to these clinics so that babies can be taken care of, but they have enough money that they can just take everything that's donated to them and use it to literally murder babies and sacrifice them to gods. That is so infuriating.
I think it's, Satanists, they're saying in this temple they're not required to perform rituals, but I'm sure that there's pressure to do that.
Well, it said right in their statement they have to say 2 tenets if that's not part of a requirement.
That's part of the abortion ritual. This is the actual to become a member of the TST. But there is something called a defiance ritual, which is a pledge to challenge the status quo in a way that is personally meaningful. Okay? They have a destruction ritual, where participants destroy an object they own that symbolizes a source of pain in their lives. I could see how that could easily be transferred to humans. They do unbaptism on people. Obviously, there's the Black Mass, which is a celebration of blasphemy. Okay, so they are literally celebrating these things. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk to you real quick about what they're doing right now. Okay, so first, when they opened their first abortion clinic, this is in New Mexico at Telehealth. I listened to a Fox News report of it. Yeah, Fox News report of it. That seemed anyway, I'm not going to go there right now. The Fox News report, they asked, have you had any pushback since, from lawmakers or lobbyists at all in opening this clinic? And she said, no, we've had no pushback, not that we're aware of. I mean, New Mexico is basically in agreement, or, they have very liberal stances on these things. And so there was no pushback.
Well, they're a swing state, so.
Now let me tell you what they're doing. There was no pushback.
But if you opened up a real crisis clinic.
There is something amazing to be said about praying from home. But if you're also not active, going out or supporting those who are, we're losing ground. They don't even track abortions anymore.
They don't take statistics or anything.
Not like they used to. And the last time in 2021 that they were taking statistics, there were over 652,000 babies being aborted in the U.S. per year. 652,000 that were reported. This is not at home. And Plan C, by the way, is fighting to become over the counter. Over the counter at pharmacies.
Yeah,
you could just go get it like you can Plan B.
That's crazy.
A carcinogen at 4 times the dose, available over the counter at pharmacies. I'm telling you. Now listen to this. I have to say, I repent that I wasn't part of the pushback for this opening. I should have been in there. I should have known what was going on. I should have been there protesting it. I just repent, man. Well, personally.
They don't make it public knowledge for a reason, They don't want us to know.
We should be so active in seeking out what we can do and what's being done that we're stopping it before it happens. The whole point of the prophetic is to prevent crap like that from entering our society. That's why tomorrow's headlines today is about intercession. It is not about did Robin and Brandy get a prophecy right or getting your next news fill. This is about serious intercession for the state of where our nation and those nations that we are influencing or speaking to is going. This is very, very, very serious. So now that they haven't been protested, guess what? April 30th, 2024, they're opening their second worldwide. It says, this is a historic moment for the Satanic Temple. The upcoming launch of the world's second Satanic abortion clinic, a testament to our unwavering commitment to reproductive rights and religious freedom. And what does that say about our commitment to religious freedom? I'm just saying.
As a nation.
As a nation.
As the body of Christ. We're in big trouble.
We have to change. We will, and we are, and we're doing things about it, okay? So I'm very mad, and I'm very hurt, and I'm very upset that this is happening under my watch. But we can change it, okay? So just listening to this, sharing this video with everyone that you know, they don't have to like or subscribe to Fireside Grace. They don't have to ever listen to me again. But if one person understands what's going on and does something differently, then that is what I'm after, okay? Following the pioneering path of the Samuel Alito's mom's satanic abortion clinic in New Mexico, which obviously on the very front page, there's a meme that they made that says, if only abortion was legal while I was pregnant with him. It's very mocking. We're excited to expand our network. However, to bring this vision to life, we face a formidable challenge, funding the operation. This opens on the 30th. Excuse me. Of a telehealth abortion clinic that offers unparalleled, free, and round-the-clock health care. Okay? Contribute to a cause that matters. Every donation, big or small, propels us forward. Donate any amount towards one of the listed clinic name options. The power to choose the winner will be in your hands. Okay, so making people feel like they have a say in what they're doing, and I'm not sure that they do. With a donation of $666, you will support our cause and can etch your mark on the annuals of reproductive rights of history by proposing a clinic name. So if you donate so much, you can $666. You can have your name etched in, or you can etch your mark is what it says, but you can propose a clinic name. Then it will be viewed by our team and legal advisors, blah, blah, blah. Mark your calendars for April 30th, 2024. That's when we'll reveal the winning clinic name and location. We're keeping it confidential for now. Rest assured it will embody our legacy of offering free and accessible reproductive health care.
Why don't they offer health care?
Right.
They want to make themselves look better than churches. Offer health care. Real health care.
So I don't think that this is to depress you. This is not to make you sad, but it's time to go to war. It's time to stand up for what we believe and play a part in stopping this from happening. If we can stand outside of an abortion clinic, love people, help them get set free from working there and all of the emotional and trauma and everything that comes with that. And we can help just show people that there is a second option, which is choosing life, which they don't believe that they have, which is really not an option. I know, just hear the point I'm making. Then we can make a difference. Fireside Grace is here. We help support single parents. We do a lot of stuff that no one ever sees or will see. But we do things that we also need to give more statistics on. So right now, the abortion prevention manual was something that we created together to...
We did. We wrote it together.
We did. To equip every member of the body of Christ and churches and organizations, groups, whatever, and pregnancy clinics, crisis pregnancy centers with a very well thought out, detailed, there's theology in there, there's answers to all the most difficult questions, etc. In this manual to help you feel like you are fully ready to talk to someone who says that they're considering abortion and change their mind. Now, it's not your job to change their mind. It's the job of the Holy Spirit to bring conviction upon them. But there are things that you can say to show them the truth, and then they can make that decision for themselves. We provide this because what I found in crisis pregnancy centers and working there was that they lack the funding needed to really thoroughly have a full training for their employees. And so they can contract out to us for free, and we will do that training for their employees that are coming in for free. And then also, so we're a resource hub for churches or groups, organizations, peoples that want to start pregnancy resource centers. And then we come along and support them in the areas that they can't. Like, let's say there's a new clinic and they don't have the donors coming in to provide baby showers, provide strollers, or, diapers, or
cribs,
whatever
clothes,
is needed.
Formula.
Right. And even a doula. Like, that's really important to me too, is having somewhere at the birth, when their family and stuff doesn't support it.
Yes.
Or if they had to flee from their abusive situation, blah, blah, blah. So we serve as a resource hub for churches, organizations, etc. The other thing is pregnancy centers have to allocate their funds very specifically and delicately, sensitively, appropriately to what they do. So they have to be conscious of how they're spending their money. Most people there are volunteers or working on a very, very low income. I mean, when I worked there, we had to live in the RV full time. And even then I had no idea how we were going to get milk.
We took a big pay hit. But you know what? 220 babies were saved?
226.
226 babies in that short period of time.
It was worth it. And so the
Hope
other
we
thing...
get to meet every one of them.
We will. The other thing is... that distracted me because I thought of a story I want to tell real quick in just a second, and then we'll wrap up. Unless the host has more questions, I guess I shouldn't determine wrap up time.
No, I'm good.
Because you're the host.
I'm good. You only got a little bit of cream soda left, so I left the last sip for you. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. It's literally the last sip.
But we also, because pregnancy centers, like I said, have to allocate their funds. So specifically, they can't really follow women. Most, the majority can't follow women after the birth, which makes some women and families feel unsupported because it's like, you helped me make this decision, but now you're gone. And so Fireside Grace continues to provide free life coaching for those families as long as they want to continue to have life coaching through that support, and throughout their life as much as they want to continue to do that. Now, the other thing is, if over 60% of those that perform and have abortions right now claim to be Christians, practicing Christians, then the biggest issue with abortion is not at the Satanic Temple, it's in the church. Let that sink in for a minute. So our job and what we're doing is for free. We're not asking churches to pay us, but we are just trusting God for the donations to come in to do this, because everything we have goes out. I mean, it just literally does. And
there's no saving.
And so, well, not yet. There will be, but
yeah,
it's our pleasure to give. But like, we can't do this alone. And so we're thankful for everyone that's been a part of us. And I'll give you something else in just a second that I want to say. But we're educating churches on doing conferences on the abortion prevention manual, and going through case scenarios and things like that of how to dive into this, and even meeting with churches one-on-one all over the U.S. to help them get a pregnancy center started. These are groups, not just churches. There's organizations. There's just friend groups. I can teach it over Zoom and do classes and conferences like that too. But we are willing to provide this for free. And we want to provide the abortion manuals for free because this is information that everyone should have regardless of their financial status.
Yes.
But to do that, it takes money to do that.
Yep.
And so if the Lord leads you, if you have never been involved before, or if you have, this would be a mission worth believing in and investing in. I'll tell you a story. And let me just be very blunt. It's going to take an extra $6,000 a month to do this right now. With all of the things going in, coming out, we need an extra $6,000 a month for me to be able to do this like I've been called to do it. And so we're trusting God for that. And we're trusting God for that. But if you're supposed to be a part of that, please step up to do that. Because there's so many abortions happening now, it's not even trackable. Like, it's been stated recently that every child you see is more of a miracle just to be here than not. Statistically now.
Like in Pennsylvania, where they're actually paying women to stay pregnant because there's more
so many abortions happening.
There's not population growth.
Yeah, there's more babies being aborted than there are being live births in Pennsylvania. And so they're actually paying women $250 per child to stay pregnant.
Do you understand how what that means? That means that our population, if that were to spread across the country, will decrease rapidly.
Yeah. And so a little story. When I was working at this clinic, hands-on, in the battle, which, by the way, we went through a tornado, we lost our home, we were homeless, all this stuff to work here. The attack is real, but I'm willing to deal with that attack.
You would think that Satan would be like, give them all the funding for this so we can attack the crap out of them. But then he's like, no, I really want to kill babies more than I want them to suffer. So that's Satan for you.
So there was a young lady who came in to see me for the first time, and she was 20 weeks pregnant. This is on actually her testimony she gave on video, and it went out to hundreds of people. Praise God. Glory to God. But she had lost custody of her two previous children. And was living in her car, and she had been on drugs.
Also been there.
And
not her.
She was on birth control, actually. Got pregnant. No, I haven't done drugs, but you have. So, but you don't now, and that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes for an awesome testimony. Well, she was dead set on having, we call it abortion determined, on having an abortion. Her mind wasn't really able to be wavered. But I talked to her about, like, you know, she just didn't want to put another child through bonding with them and then losing them. And her parents actually adopted her other 2 children. But she had a plan if she had done all of this per Child Protective Services and per the judge, if she had done all of these things, that she could get her children back. Well, she was very close to being able to do that. She was holding down a job. She had a job for almost a year, and she was just, that was the other thing. She was getting promoted to manager, and she was worried about being able to keep that position, which no woman should ever feel worried about keeping a position because they're pregnant. But I felt it too when I was pregnant. Like, the pressure in the workplace is
oh,
absurd.
yeah. Oh, I know. Because you got fired and had all of your leave taken from you and still.
Yeah.
So.
And never repaid.
Never repaid. Like a couple weeks before we had our baby.
It was 7 days before my scheduled C-section.
No reason, no excuse, but this isn't about us.
Terrible, terrible overhead. And so God repaid us, I believe, which is even better. But I just told her, like, all I said was that I believed in her. And I believed that this time could be different. And I told her, and her fiance at the time who got her pregnant, actually she didn't know if it was one of 2 people, and then did confirm that it was him, didn't have a job, and he was a felon. And so for him to get a job was really hard because he had to have background checks and all that. It was really hard. And then to have a job that paid well enough to actually take care of a small family and get them a place to live, because she didn't want to bring a child into the world that lived in a car. Which, by the way, her car was broken, and that was all she had too at the time.
It's hard.
She was doing her best, man. I really
can sympathize. It's difficult to be in that situation. We have been there.
And so, well, we haven't. Yeah.
We didn't live in a car.
We didn't. We were married, but anyway.
Yeah. And I'm not a felon.
Yeah. Hey, correct is what I mean by yeah. Let me clarify that. She actually, I told her, I said, you don't know where 9 months is well, she didn't have 9 months. She had like 4 months, but 4 months is a long time. You don't know what God can do, a Christian, again, what God can do between now and then. He said he has met all of our needs. So either you believe that or you don't. Has he met your needs? Well, that's what it says. Okay, then what do you believe? Okay? And so I said, I believe God has provided for your needs. I believe your situation's going to change for the better. And I believe in you and your ability to do this, your ability to get your other children back, your ability to be an amazing mom. And I will never forget her calling me so that I can hold her baby after birth. And I didn't even know. I did walk through that whole thing with her through the rest of the 4 months. And I actually ended up counseling her fiance some as well. And he ended up getting this awesome job that paid way more than hers. And she was actually able to quit her job, which was good because she had to go on, I think she had to go on bed rest for something. But she was able to actually quit her job. They got an apartment. We provided an entire baby shower for them. And I didn't know this, but privately, my boss had recorded her testimony. Because she wanted to share it with every woman that came in that was abortion minded or abortion determined. And she said, Brandy said that she believed in me, and no one else had ever said that my whole life.
You also told her you were proud of her for making the right decision.
And I did. I told her I was proud of her. And, well, I actually told her I was proud of her before she decided to keep the baby because of just everything she'd gone through. I didn't know that that's what did it. And we pray at that clinic every day, God, let Holy Spirit's words come out of my mouth. But I'm telling you, we had 226 of these that year. Of these stories. And if you can just be there to say that you believe in someone and that you're proud of them, you may save women from a lifetime of regret, pain, suffering, cancer, problem after problem, trauma, suicide, which we haven't even gotten to yet, and save their baby from being murdered. And then them from being responsible for murder. Just by telling them you love them, you're there for them, you believe in them. That's what the church is supposed to do. The biggest thing I can do, since 60% of the people who get abortions are Christians, is to educate the church. And so right now, we need to raise $6,000 more than what's coming in a month for me to be able to stop dog training. I build furniture, I flip furniture, I make stuff for Etsy, I do all kinds of projects to bring in income for our household. But I can't continue to do all the stuff I do, raise my kids, have international ministry, a dog sanctuary, dog training business, a furniture business, interior design business, have 2 kids under 5 that I homeschool, and do this. So if it's not funded, I can't do it full time, which is unfortunate. Because I know that I'm called to do this. So I just say that I will be able to do this full time and get other people involved. Also, the life coaching is a big deal too. Every volunteer that I have, I will say 90% of the volunteers I've ever had have not actually kept their word. But yeah, everyone, why aren't y'all doing this? Why aren't y'all doing that? Well, how come you can't speak to your partners more? The accusations we get, I'm not even going to say because they're not worth glorifying or even commenting about. But we are 2 freaking people
running this whole thing.
Like, I'm just saying, we need you. If you're willing to volunteer to be a life coach, you have to go through training. It won't be how you want a life coach. Your life coaching skills will be honored, wanted. Your ideas will probably be put in place. But you still have to go through, expel the Jezebel in me, the character of Christ. Because if you don't go through it, how can you teach it? And that's the foundation upon our life coaching program. We need volunteers. We need you to share this video so that we can go and do things about these horrific situations that are going on, like the murders after the birth of what they call a failed abortion. The Satanic Temple coming up with this stuff. Like, we need to know what's going on and we need to learn how to stop it. And you can be a part of that by supporting what we're doing. We'll give you updates on where we're going, who we've ministered to, numbers, and as much as we can do things like that, we will be held accountable with you. But if you want to donate, our stuff is right there, firesidegrace.com. Just on the homepage is the donate button. You can put your card, you can do PayPal, we have Venmo. It's at Brandy-Cloninger. Make sure if you can, when you put something if you make a donation, put something in the comments that says for abortion prevention or something, saving babies or something along those lines. So we'll know the funding account to put it into. We love you guys. I'm really proud of you for listening to this because this is the first step to action is awareness. And I look forward to saving unprecedented amounts of babies from murder, our next generation, and women and families from a lifetime of regret. Love you guys.
And like and subscribe because we already lost 2 subscribers just for talking about abortion. But you know what?
Bye.
The truth is the truth, and it needs to be talked about because the church, we've been to so many churches, not heard people talk about abortion. I think our church talked about it a little bit recently, but other than that, we've been all over the place, and we haven't heard diddly squat about it. So
I will say, if you've had an abortion, we're also in the ministry of loving you through the trauma of that. So we are non-judgmental. We just want to make a change with what's going on right now.
That's right. All right. We love you guys. Be blessed, and we will see you again for the partners tonight at 8 o'clock. I have a message all prepared already. So
It's 8:15.
8:15. I always say 8, and then people show up
It's 8:15.
half an hour late anyway. So, all right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.